Clash of Clans podcast, special episode number 4. Hi, fellow nerds. This is Scotty from Clash of Clans podcast, even though you might not recognize it by the sound of my voice. I've been out sick pretty much for the last 2 weeks. This is the second part of the interview guest host episode with Boaz, where we get to talk about troops and that type of thing. So it was a really fun interview to do. This one's a little bit shorter. We meandered and kind of went all over the place. So I tried to break it down to kind of where we went, and we're going to continue our conversation coming up sometime in the next week. So you can be looking for another special episode. Also, there'll be one with Boneyard, who is back coming up. I actually had a couple days last week where I was able to speak like a normal human being. So here goes this episode. Hope you enjoy. This brings us to how you attack.
So I attack with archers and goblins. I switched up my attack a little bit when I was trophy pushing. I went back to using giants with healers, which is always a cool thing. So now I've been using, minions. So I use archers, goblins, and minions, and also I started using barbarians.
So you have a dark barrack.
Yeah, I have. I just built my second one, actually, because now I'm to the point in my town hall where elixir is meaningless. So now I built another dark barracks, and then I upgraded my other one to hog riders, and I was in this camp at first.
You upgraded your hog riders?
No.
Going to your...
I upgraded my dark barracks so that I can make hog riders.
Okay.
Yeah, because I've been in this camp of why would I ever use dark elixir troops when I could save up my dark elixir for upgrading my Barb King or eventually getting an Archer Queen or whatever it might be. And then I started using minions, and they're fucking awesome. And so I realized that minions are fucking awesome. And I just upgraded them to level 2 now. So now they're even more awesome. And they cost such a small amount of dark elixir that I don't feel bad about wasting it. It takes me so long to save it up and stuff. So I feel bad making a bunch of hog riders or whatever comes in that, Valkyries, whatever it's going to be next. I don't want to waste it. But minions, I don't really feel like I'm wasting it. And the fact that they fly is just so cool. I mean, you can get them over by, a mortar and a cannon or something, and then just...
They're ignored.
They completely, run wild there. And also another thing is, if you can, if they have a Barb King... So you lure the Barb King away, with, an archer or a barb or something, and then drop 3 or 4 minions, and he just stands there. He starts to wander back towards the base if you don't.
That's what Boots Electric. I know you haven't heard the last episode, but that's what Boots Electric was talking about, and I did that today. I just threw 2. And Boneyard had always said throw 1 from every direction, so they go in. And then any of the balloons that come up. But they are the cleanup crew.
Yeah.
That sometimes at the end, they are the ones that are just still doing work.
And besides taking out the Barb King, there's also something I've done where if someone has a clan castle with no archers in it, so if their clan castle comes out with 25 or 30 level 6 barbs, maybe some, level 6 giants, and they, you drop 1 or 2 minions, and they just stand there getting shit rained on them from the minions. They just stand there like idiots, getting destroyed.
The Minion King.
Exactly. So I've taken a couple of screenshots where I have 1 minion wiping out 25 high-level barbarians, and it always gives me a lot of joy to see that. It cracks me up.
So, full attack. What is in your attack load?
So if I'm trying to wipe out their base, in order to get trophies, then I would go about 8 giants, 1 to 2 healers, about 15 to 20 minions, about 40 to 50 archers, maybe, well, if I'm trying to do trophies, then I'll do less goblins and more barbarians. So maybe 30 barbs and 20 some goblins, something like that. I almost never attack with a full 200 because I always have my one barracks that's upgraded all the way is always making troops for me to donate to my clan mates. So I have one that's always just pumping out dragons and pekkas. Yeah, and I just don't. I use them for myself sometimes if you know I have a couple dragons that I'm planning on donating. But
I think a pekka should be called a pecker.
I just asked someone in my clan today, "Do you want my pecker?" And they said, "Yeah, I want your pecker." And then I said, "Are you ready?"
Kind of complete total moron.
Yeah. Yeah, not a big
but
fan.
I just started upgrading it.
Oh yeah.
Today because I feel like the research facility always has to be going.
Yeah, definitely. Because elixir is, I mean.
But the way this week has been going with the dark elixir, I'm only 25,000 away from upgrading the witch.
Oh, nice.
To level 2. And I
what
don't
level
know how often I would get to that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Especially when, you're open for, people are definitely going to raid you when they see you as 75,000 dark elixir. What level are your king and queen?
8 for queen, 9 for king.
Oh, okay.
So I've been pushing, because I haven't been doing the other troops, but I've been realizing that I'm about to run out of elixir for upgrading. And so I'm going to have to put it somewhere else.
Oh, you mean you're going to run out of troops to upgrade?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's something I've noticed with any town hall is at the beginning, as soon as you upgrade, all the cool stuff is elixir. Upgrading your lab, upgrading your barracks, upgrading your army camps, building, new types of barracks, building a drill, upgrading your dark elixir store, all these cool new things that you look forward to.
Especially at a town hall level 8. You just wait. By the time you're done, you will have 2 full boobs.
No, I did at the end of Town Hall 7. I had maxed out 400,000 and or 4 million, and just didn't even. I'd sometimes just put them like towards the outside of my base just because I was like, this means nothing to me, and it seems like such a waste. I think such a cool thing would be if there was like an elixir gold converter or something where you could put in elixir and get like maybe 20% of the amount of elixir you put in gold, or or 10%.
I do think Supercell listens to this podcast.
Yeah, what's up, Supercell?
What's up?
How you living? So yeah, it seems like such a waste to use dark elixir for troops that you're going to expend immediately when you could save it up for things that are permanent, like Barb King or Archer Queen or something.
Yeah, I agree.
But now that I have more, now that dark elixir isn't as valuable, I have 10,000 or whatever usually. Then
you hover around the 10,000 mark.
Well, I don't really hover. I mean, I get up to I got up to 1250, upgraded my Barb King. Got up to 10,000 or something, upgraded minions. Got up to 1,500, upgraded Barb King. 1,700, upgraded Barb King, and now 20,000. I have to decide between minions 3 and Barb King 5 and Hog Rider 2 or something like that. So,
minions.
Minions. That's what I'm leaning towards.
Because the king trade-off is minutes versus strength. And the strength trade-off is not that great.
I remember looking at the upgrade things at first and being like, is this really that much of an improvement to go from 1 to 2 when it's going to take extra time? And
yeah. And
but thing is, I think I use them and then I don't use them till the next time I pick it up anyway, and so if it's 60 minutes versus 70 minutes, I don't know if it's really that big of a
Boots Electric said to me, though, that as you get farther, there's a steep incline by the
I remember you
amount
guys
of
talking about
damage.
that. Yeah, I remember you guys talking about that.
But
Like level 20 or something like that.
who knows? Tell them why we are even having this interview.
Oh, yeah. So this is a kind of a funny story. So just like I'm sure all you other fans in the stands out there, I listened to all the podcasts. Huge fan. I started late, so maybe only started listening to them a couple months ago. So I had 15 or more to listen to all in a row, so I didn't have to wait week by week or whatever.
I hate listening for podcasts.
Yeah, waiting for them. So yeah, then I hit, the point where it was like, oh, episode 20 or whatever. I wonder why my, podcast app isn't automatically downloading more. I'm going to go look. And I was like, what the fuck? There hasn't been any updates in like a month. And I was like, man, I really want to find out what's going on because I love this podcast, I would always listen to it on my way home from work and stuff. And so one day I'm on my way home from work. I'm out of episodes. I'm like, man, I should really go on clashofclanspodcast.com, or I couldn't really remember what the website was, what the email was, stuff like that. But the one thing I could remember is 42427 Clash.
What was that?
42427 Clash.
What?
I said 42427 CLASH.
Okay.
Yeah, so
I got it.
So I was on my way home from work and I said, man, I really want to listen to Clash of Clans podcast. And so I didn't really know what else to do. So I picked up my phone and called 42427 Clash.
What'd you call?
And 42427 Clash.
Okay.
and I was like, man, the podcast hasn't happened for a month. I doubt they even check this anymore. They probably moved on, started doing something else, but figured, fuck it, I'll leave a message. So I left a message and said, hey, I missed the podcast. I don't remember exactly what I said. But
if one of you have retired.
Oh yeah. So I missed the podcast, et cetera. And then I said, yeah, if the reason that you're not doing it anymore is because either Scotty or Boneyard is, retired or doesn't want to do it anymore, I would volunteer to co-host. And I figured it was a total shot in the dark. Like there's no way that they would actually do that. But I was just like, man, I love this podcast. If there's someone that's not doing it, then, maybe they would let me do that. So, and then all of a sudden, today I get a text from Scotty that says, hey, you want to do the podcast with me today? And I was like, what the fuck? So the only reason I knew it was real is because it came from this number that I know is 42427 Clash.
27 Clash.
Yeah.
That's the most direct line.
Sounds. Oh, and one thing I wanted to do before I forget is give a shout out to Mikey Crud, because that song is awesome. I mean, as all of you know, it's awesome. I had it stuck in my head for weeks after I first heard it. It's just so funny, so well
Facebook
done.
Likes.
Really? Holy shit!
Yeah,
Mikey Crud, you're famous. So
he was, and Boneyard's like, we made him famous, and I'm like, no, we didn't. He did.
But so Mikey, if you're out there, I know that would be extremely difficult, nigh impossible to top that song. But if you have any more stuff, you're obviously, a great musician, great sense of humor.
What would you suggest for Mikey Crud to come up with next?
I don't know. That would be a good thing to throw out to the listeners if people want to email in ideas for Mikey Crud. I can't really think of anything off the top of my head.
So you wanted to talk about earlier levels, because you're a level 74.
Yeah, so I recently started a second account, just randomly because, my upgrades cost 3 million, for my purple wizard tower or whatever, 2.7 million, and everything takes 8 days. And so I was like, well, it'd be interesting to start a different account. So I started a second one, and it's pretty interesting because everything is so cheap. It takes really short amounts of time and stuff. But the way I've done it is I just put in, I pick it up, play for 15 minutes, and then put it down, and then, they pick it up a couple times a week or something like that. And it's pretty interesting because you can fill your storages really easily, if you just shop around until you find a base. And then
how would you start differently on this?
So the thing that's different for me from everyone else, everyone says, man, I made so many mistakes when I was playing, if I could start over, I would do such and such differently. I don't really have anything that I would do differently. Like when I first started playing, and I realized, after a few days, how much I would probably be playing this game, I bought my third builder. Because I was like, it's 50% more builder production is huge, and then I earned my fourth builder once I got the 1250 trophy thing.
So you didn't spend your gems like we all did right away.
No, I did not spend. I realized that. From other games with those kind of gem things where there's usually something good to save it for, and some because I figured mathematically builders are the most important thing, and that which brings me to my nephews who have spent all sorts of gems. They're like Town Hall 7, Town Hall 8.
They're the ones that got you into the game.
They're the ones that got me into the game. They each have 2 builders. They use their gems on everything except builders, and this whole time I've been like, guys, that's all that matters. There's nothing you should spend your gem. I gemmed the 50% of my Barb King or something because Dark Elixir was so hard to get when I first got my Barb King. But really, besides that and the builders, there's no reason to gem things. It just speeds things up a little bit or whatever. But of course, the builders aren't, when you're a kid, in school, it's all about, well, what level town hall do you have? Well, I have a higher level town hall than you. Oh man. And builders aren't.
About that.
Yeah, it's totally, they have always been kind of pressured to rush. And I'm like, guys, don't do that. You got to stay and max out your
town hall.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Let's measure our town halls against each other. But so the builders are not, a sexy thing to have when you're a kid. So they got made all this way, and they have 2 builders, and I'm just so annoyed at them. But they at least finally stopped rushing after I had just been so annoyed at them for rushing their town halls. I'm like, guys, you have freaking wooden walls, and you're going up to
your
town hall
account
8.
passwords, and I will run it for you until you turn 18, and then at that point, I will give you back your Game Center passwords.
That would be a better idea. Well, at least I've got them to promise me that they're not going to upgrade their town halls any farther before they at least get their walls to a certain color, or they, get their defenses to a certain point. And
without you punching them in the face.
Yeah, exactly. And I almost punched him in the face for not buying. One of them said, I got these gems. I just got 1250 trophies. Should I buy a third builder, or should I buy a Barb King? And so I said, well, buddy, ask in the clan. He was in one of my clans at the time. Ask everyone in the clan chat whether you should do the Barb King or the builder. Because I was like,
why didn't
it's got to
you
be
just
the
tell
builder.
him the answer?
Well, no, I told him. I told him builder. And his brother said, no, dude, Barb King. Barb King's way cooler than a builder. And I was like, no, the builder you can't get any other way. The Barb King you can get. The builder you can only get with gems.
His brother?
Well, I wanted to,
just
but
slap.
I don't have rights for spanking or slapping. But I said I was sure that this would get him. I said, ask in the clan chat what you should get.
What you could have said is, I'm not getting you a Christmas present anymore.
and totally what I'm going to get him for Christmas present would be iTunes cards anyway. So
not him, the other one.
Yeah. Well, so he asked in the clan chat, what should I get? everybody, you know, there's like 4 people that responded right away. Builder, 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 builder. And I was like, does that answer your question? He's like, yeah, yeah. So a few days later, I talked to him. He's like, yeah, I got my Barb King. And I was like, you freaking idiot. I mean, do you need any more? But it's their peer pressure with their friends, none of whom are good at the game, but they're all like, oh, do you have an expo? Or do you know, they just rush all the way up just so they can get something that they think is cool. Oh, do you have a Barb King? You know, and it's just, I mean, they're super
maybe
young.
The real thing that we should be doing on Clash of Clans podcast is encouraging the idiots in high school.
This is like elementary school, these kids.
Yeah, okay. Elementary school. Go with your gut.
Go with your gut.
Go with your gut. Go with your the popularity.
I mean, really,
so we can raid you.
That's true.
And take everything that we can possibly get.
Yeah, everyone who's listening to this, rush to Town Hall 10 as quickly as possible.
Fast. Run fast.
Just get some gems. Just spend it only on town halls.
Fine if you have wood walls at Town Hall 10.
I love it when I see it. My clanmates and I just love taking pictures of, I mean, I'm sure everyone loves doing that, screenshotting just embarrassingly awful bases to share with each other and make fun of. And
well, isn't that replay nice now?
Yeah, that's an interesting. I like that. The issue is though that people start posting them a lot, and I don't really want to spend the time to watch all of them, you know, and so I don't know.
So
I wish
the real lesson is leave a message when you're reposting.
Yeah, it's
look at this.
This is 500, 500, 2,000, you know, or whatever,
yeah.
and someone will want to, or say, oh, look, I did this with, you know, I got 200,000 gold with only, you know, 10 archers because they left, you know, these gold mines on the outside, you know, or whatever.
This week is
so for something interesting. Yeah, so this week is, I mean, for Scotty, it makes sense to ride the shield and just sit like a fat cat with his drills, but for the rest of peasants who have, you know, one level 3 drill, it's a free for all.
You can't really walk into it's rare that you'd walk in and get 1,000 dark elixir.
Yeah, I do not. I mean, there's been a couple raids where I'll get 2,000 or 3,000 dark elixir, but it's very rare. You know, I usually only get a few hundred or something. So,
and I just keep doing my king and queen, but I also think it is kind of stupid in some ways because they're not as I don't know. I go back and forth on it.
You mean with the thing about they take up a certain
4 minutes? 4 minutes.
Yeah,
I think they should take less time.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really. Is it necessarily an improvement if they're taking more time? And so I remember the first time I looked at a birth
16 more hit points, and they take 4 more minutes.
Yeah, it's just is it really worth the trade off? But I mean, I guess it is, and we've heard that there's a certain levels where it really goes up and stuff like that. But yeah, it doesn't seem that's satisfying to.
And when we first talked today, Boots Electric played that replay, and I was telling you about this. But he sent in a couple golems.
Golems. Okay.
I say golems.
I say golems too.
Okay. Thankfully. Golem. And he is level 2. And I thought, well, maybe I should be spending my dark elixir on that. Mm-hmm. Because the witch is, she comes behind and does her stuff, which is really cool. But
can you make golems?
Yeah.
Golems?
Golem. All right, so
well, there's one other thing that I wanted to talk about with rushing that really I think might interest people who are listening and saying, "Oh, these guys don't know what they're talking about. I want to, listen. I want to rush up to my town hall. That I don't care about this stuff." I mean, there's many reasons why you don't want to. The loot penalties make it so that Town Hall level 7 is the best farming out of all the town halls.
Hey guys, Scotty again. That was the interview with Boaz, and really where he was going with the very end comment there, and we talked about it here and there as we went on, but Town Hall Level 7, best place to farm. And so I'll ask him more about it, and we can go into more depth when we do our next podcast. So if you want to get a hold of us, clashclanspodcast.com. You can leave a question on the blog at WBSMT Radio on Twitter, or clashclanspodcast@gmail.com, or of course you can always call us at 424-27-CLASH. So keep it clashy, everybody, and thanks for listening.
Skilly beep 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 skilly beep.